Good morning and welcome to all our attendees. If this is your first meeting today, I hope you have a brilliant day with us. I'd like to introduce myself. I am Chloe Farrant and I'm one of the lead teachers here at Cornerstone Academy Trust. And I work a lot to do with global learning. So I'm really interested in our speaker today and I'm honoured to introduce Donna Shah. She is the Assistant Digital Learning Advisor and she's an experienced educator based in London. She's currently working with Cognita Schools and she supports with their digital learning there. She's an MIE Fellow and she was selected to represent the UK for Microsoft at their E2 Education Meet in Paris in 2019. And today she's come to share her expertise on how to facilitate global classrooms connections through Skype in the classroom. And she will show you some of the features within that. So please do pop your questions in the Q&A through the session and we'll come to them at the end. But I will pass you over to Donna now. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you for that, and thank you everybody for joining us this morning as we try and escape those four walls that we're sat in and move through our global connections. So as the introduction said, I have been working in education for over 20 years now, and at least 8 of those have been dealing with EdTech. But Skype in the classroom is something that I'm only relatively new to, but I found it very supportive in taking our students around the globe, but also for me personally, because I'm actually one of the guest speakers on there. I'm going to show you some of the things that we can do with Skype in the classroom as we go around. So the first thing is we're very used to seeing that traditional 4 walls of a classroom. It's what we all know, it's what we're all used to teaching within. But in these days, and especially at these times right now with the pandemic, we're not able to teach in the same way as we used to. And Skype in the classroom can be a really beneficial tool, especially right now, to escape beyond those 4 walls. Because as we know, not all classrooms have got those 4 walls. So imagine the benefits of escaping the walls, escaping their classroom, escaping their home, even if it's just through a screen, to take themselves anywhere around the world and make those connections. But what we need to think about is this, okay? What are the benefits of having a global learning? Okay, so what we need to think about first is the similarities. So you get your students to talk to other students in other cultures. They tend to focus on habits and thoughts that are very different, and it might be a little bit scary. But we found that students actually talk more about the similarities that they have rather than the differences. Things like the songs they like, the foods they like, the things they enjoy. It actually humanises the situation that we find ourselves in, and they get the chance to talk to students they wouldn't necessarily have been able to talk to otherwise. We want to think about the personal growth. So becoming an adult, so from our young people up through into adulthood, we need to develop skills that are necessary to play a functioning role in society. Students need to be independent, they need to manage their time, they need to be organised and have social skills, and also be self-confident. Students that have grown up learning in a global classroom have a very tangible advantage to other students. Being able to set up meetings with the other students in the other international classroom comes with some planning and communication. It teaches them things that they weren't even aware of. Oops, sorry, I'm just moving through the slide there because I was scrolling down. Learning through inquiry. Now, the first few questions that students will ask each other may sound very silly, but if you let them dig deeper, you'll see some extraordinary things coming out of your students' mouths. The little questions lead to the bigger questions and send students down exciting paths that can lead to bigger, global, project-based learning opportunities and other programs. We can think about the cultural growth. The world is enormous and has many secrets and things that we just don't know. There's a huge value which comes from immersing our students in a culture. Interacting with local students and understanding the way they live can be really eye-opening. Become the expert. It's not all about just connecting. You want your students to learn something and you want the other classroom on the other side of the screen to do the same. So let your students become the experts about certain topics in your own country. Let the students teach the other classroom and vice versa. But we can also emphasize with each other. Looking into other worlds stimulates open-mindedness and quells prejudice. When your students connect with a classroom, for example, in Africa, they can see what real students and real teachers look like in that faraway place. And it can very often be very different to the depictions that they see in books and movies. Friendships are built and projects can come to life. They're just tip of the iceberg about some of the benefits for global learning. So what about Skype in the classroom? I'm just going to read you a quote for one of the Skype in the classroom users. This is from Steve Auslander, who's in the USA and he's a 5th grade teacher. Connecting over Skype makes learning an adventure. It brings the curriculum to life by experiencing real time the people, places and things we are studying. This dramatically changes my students' engagement. Best of all, my students learn empathy for others, becoming compassionate global citizens. Now, I don't think any of us can argue that that's what we want for our students and our young people. And when we say Skype in the classroom, just to make you all aware, Skype also is built in through Teams. So if you're a Teams user, you can also use your Teams meetings. So it's not like you have to use Skype if you're unfamiliar with that. So when I say Skype in the classroom, we can also read it as Teams as well, just to make you aware of that. So these are some of the ways that we can use Skype in the classroom, and we're going to dive deeper into each of these sections and focus and have a little demonstration and a look at the website about how we can do this. So the 5 key ways that I've found to use them are through virtual field trips, classroom or mystery Skype, having a guest speaker, working on collaborative projects, and then there's also a special events section. So the first thing we're going to have a look at is the virtual field trip. So with this, I'm just going to go to my web browser. Hope that it's still there. Yes, it is. So this is the Skype in the classroom landing page. And as I said, the first place we're going to go to is the virtual field trips. And when you go here, think about this present moment in time. Many of our educational visits have had to be cancelled, postponed, delayed, and that includes trips abroad. So this is a way that we can go and find out and visit some of these other places globally. You can actually drill down by filtering by subject. So if you're looking for something linked to science, you can go and find science-based. If you're looking for history, geography, STEM, Ask Me, all those different features, you can drill down and look at, careers even. You can drill with your age range. So if you're looking for some older students, you can drill down and see those, and these are all the experiences that are available to you. You can even drill down by time length, subject and availability, because obviously you've got to think about time differences as well. So all those features you can shortcut down. Equally, if I just take that filter off, just go back to the full range, you can start typing in at the top. So if you know that you're thinking about animals, you can search for animals and it will bring up any of the amazing visits and virtual tours that you can do. So you might want to go and have a look at this desert. Now it's a 60-minute trip. It tells you more information about it. And all you have to do then is to click and open it. It will give you some more information about what the learning objective is, additional resources that you might want to have, and then you can actually just click on request this session. This will connect you with the presenter, the guest presenter, and then you can make that arrangement whether you want to use Skype in the classroom or whether you want to use Teams. This is the same for all the sessions like this. So that is how you can make quickly that first initial step for looking at a virtual tour. And I know that I had a fantastic one once with the Amazon rainforest when my year 5 students were writing about that and they were learning about the Amazon rainforest, and we connected and they spoke about the work that they were doing for preservation and some of the tribal groups in the area. So it was it's quite enlightening for us. So the next thing we're going to have a look at after the virtual field trip is we're going to have a look at the classroom or mystery Skype. Now, if you've never heard of mystery Skype, this is a fantastic opportunity because you get to keep your students guessing and tying with classrooms around the world. So you can connect your class with another classroom. Students have to figure out where your classroom is based. So it could be that you just drill down to a country. You might drill down to a city. And that's through culture and geographical clues. So not only does it get the other classroom having to think and drill down with their knowledge, but your own students, when they're applying and thinking of their own questions in return. They'll need to use maps, critical thinking and creative problem solving. Oops, it's moving on its own there. They'll need to use maps, critical thinking and creative problem solving to determine where the other classroom is located. So if we just go and have a little look at this now. So we're back on the landing page, and you can see here, this is how you connect through the classrooms and the Mystery Skype. So just down on the side, you can see it's selected here, so you can toggle between the different ones here. So if you're looking, you as the organizer, you would know what country you're based in. So you could tie this in with any topics that you're learning about. There's lots of different countries: Israel, Brazil, UK, Pakistan, a whole range. So you can fit this in with a vast assortment of your learning objectives and your educational needs. So that's thinking about Mystery Skype. I'm toggling between these different things. I'm losing track of where I am. The guest speaker. So as I said earlier, I'm a guest speaker for an Ask a Me, so Ask a Microsoft Innovative Educator. So I get people requesting sessions, and they're just 30-minute sessions looking at one particular Microsoft tool. But students can learn from experts in any given field using Skype or Teams. You can expand the opportunities for your students to learn deeper concepts from people they admire. With a Skype lesson, they learn valuable information and gain experience interviewing experts. Your students can learn far more from talking with specialists than they can from reading a textbook alone. And there's a great choice and a great list of speakers that you can access. So goodness me, this has got a mind of its own today. So going back here, I'm just going to toggle on the guest speakers rather than going to the landing page. And then it will give us all the different subjects that we can look through. So if you're looking for maybe careers, you can then go and have a look at the different career options. So this one here, change the world. So there's careers here. So this is a member of the Skype in the Classroom team at Microsoft. They're looking all the time about how students are impacting and improving. So just the same, we've got an option of 3 speakers there. Request the session. Okay, so that is the guest speaker option. The next option we're going to have a little look at is collaborative projects, and these are more long-term projects, and it will allow your students to see a new perspective by collaborating with another classroom on a large project. Students can share their half of the project via Skype or Teams and listen to the missing half from the other classroom. It gives students a chance to learn twice as much information, but also gain an appreciation for an entirely different group of people. Be sure to select a classroom that is much different though to your own to give students that chance to see another part of the world. So some of the projects that you can work on, if we just toggle back, and I'll just go back to the preview at the top, is probably easier. So lots of different collaborative projects. A lot of them are based around the sustainable development goals. Thinking about, you might want to think about plastics. So if I search for plastic, these are various collaborative projects that are taking place. So if I want to have a look at the environment and reducing plastic, fantastic opportunity. For senior students, we can think about researching the use of plastics at your own home. It's got the information there that they can do, and this actually incorporates a Kahoots quiz. They also share a common Padlet. They're carrying out investigations, and you can actually join that project. There are also worldwide ones that are massively promoted rather than just an individual who is looking to work along with somebody. You can see that it's given the option for a language as well, so you can drill down into what language that you're looking for. So that is your different collaborative projects. The final main section within the Skype in the Classroom are special events, and special events are those key tools that are one-off sessions. They are actually available on demand, but there's one coming up tomorrow, which is actually about asking an astronaut, and it's an astronaut speaking live at the space shuttle. So you can go and speak live at the space shuttle. But if we go and have a look at some of the different live events that there have been, So if I just toggle back to the beginning, these are all different time zones. So quite often you just have to make sure you're in the right time zone, and now everything's gone on a go slow. And here it is. So let's go to our special events. So the majority of these are every Wednesday. So they're live. So they're at 10 a.m. That's Pacific time. So that's 6 p.m. in the UK. So although it won't be ideal for use with your students in the classroom, it's something that you could get your families involved in. So you've got your live events that are upcoming. And as I said, this Wednesday, it's Journey to Space, and you've got the astronaut there. You can click and just join on the link, and it's a 30-minute session. So it might be that you want to know why they wear special suits, all sorts of different ideas. We've got Greek archaeologists, then there's also things like the Shark Alive, but there's the option to have the on-demand. So if I just toggle back, you've got all the ones that have gone past already. So we've got Dr. Jane Goodall. You've got some authors, Cressida Cowell, WWF, zoo ambassadors, a whole range that you can access at any time and use with your students. Now, not only do we have all these different resources that are available to us on the Skype in the Classroom webpage, but you can see at the top here, we've got the option to find activities down the side for your classroom, but also there are resources. So there are resources for you as educators, and this will include access to lesson plans. So there are activities to use alongside. So you're not just left with a Skype meeting. You're actually given guidance on what sort of activities you could do in the lead up, all the different suggestions here. So teach the social and sustainable development goals via Skype in the classroom. Fantastic opportunity there. And some of the resources include certificates and the connections. So they're all in a OneDrive that you can access. So there's lots of activity plans that are provided for you within it. They're taking a minute to come through. So we'll just toggle back and drop back in a moment. But there are also resources for your students. So this can give them some guidance and resources that you can share with them on how they can do it. So if you want to celebrate that you're a global classroom, you would also find out how many miles you've travelled. And I know that some schools are keeping records of this as an encouragement and trying to move along. Teach that sustainable development goals with the resources. So it is the world's largest lessons, and I know they're going for the Guinness Book of Records. You can keep your Skype in the Classroom passport. All of these tools are provided with you for you to help support your journey. So they're in the resources section. Themed collections is a new area that's currently under development. So that's at the moment not in working support. The team with Skype in the Classroom, very supportive. If you have any issues, they will help you connect. They will help provide that link up. But that is the website as a basis. So as I say, from the landing page, you can access all of the different tools and all of the different resources. So I really would recommend that in these times you go and try that out and have a look. It doesn't cost. It comes with, you just need to sign in with an Office account or a Microsoft account, and that's how you can access it, just up in the sign in at the top there. But I'm just going to jump back here now because, as I said, I'm on the Ask and Me. So I happily discuss things like Teams, assignments, Sway, any of the Microsoft tools you can just list down. So that's the sort of information that you will find when you're looking to try and book a session. But you can't just jump into going on a Skype in the Classroom. You need to take some considerations. And these are the three main things that you need to consider, in my opinion, for a successful Skype in the Classroom session. The first thing you need to think about is the hardware. You need to connect with a camera. So ideally it will be a camera and microphone built in so that you're not having to have too many different tools moving around the screen, different things to be connected. Because the more things you have to try and connect, the more likely that one of them is going to fail. So I would, in this day, I think most of us have got some form of connectivity with our devices. So we don't need students to have them all, it's just at least one. So this could be a webcam, for example, that you just plug in, and then how you use it within your session would depend very much on one of the other options, which is safeguarding, because you need to think and check, are my students available to be seen on screen? Do we have permission either from parent or guardian or from the students themselves, depending on their age? Have they given approval to be seen on screen? We all know there are some people and various reasons why permission isn't granted, and permission isn't even sought because we already know that reasons why people shouldn't be on screen. So that's the consideration. And if, for example, you do have those sort of students that can't be seen, you could either put them at the side of the classroom so that they're out of the camera angle, or you may even consider not having the camera facing the classroom, but just having the camera for yourself as the teacher, the educator. And then maybe if some of the students do want to come on camera, they can come up when they're asking questions individually or in small groups. That way, the whole class can be involved, but any students that don't want to be on camera don't have to be. The other thing that you need to consider is obviously timescales, because yes, we are in a different time zone, so that all the different Skype in the classroom activities and resources do tell you the different time zones, and you can set it when you set your account. You can choose which location you're in, so it will give you the up-to-date timing for your own location. So even though it might say 10 a.m. Pacific time, it will give you the UK time for your own connection. So you do need to have a look at those, and it's one of those key tools when you're drilling down and selecting an activity, is make sure it's in your time zone. Equally, if you're looking at doing a collaborative project, don't try and do one in a week. Okay, if you are going to do that, you want your students to have time to prepare, to actually create the resources so that it's a successful sharing. Otherwise, you're going to put yourself off and you're going to put your students off doing these in the future. Another thing, as a guest speaker, it is nice to have at least a little bit of notice. So at least a week's notice in request if you are requesting a session. That way people can check their calendars. So if you are looking for popular topics, I know they get booked up really quickly. So things like the Egyptians, those time slots go very quickly. So if you know half-termly in advance, that's probably the best time to try and see if you can make your connection. It might seem like a long time, but it will very quickly come around. But everywhere across the world, people learn. A global education is essential in order for us to build a better world. As I said, just a reminder there that it is an interactive tour of the Space Shuttle is this Wednesday, so it's tomorrow. The link there in the bottom corner is how you can make that connection and join up straight away. It isn't giving you a direct live link. Sorry, not a direct live link. You won't have the ability to talk directly to each other. It is going to be a live event similar to the one you're in now. Okay, so you won't be able to do that forward and backward interaction directly with the host. But if it's ideal, if you want to try out any hardware, if you want to see how it would work, it's an easy, quick win to be able to check out your system and make sure that you'll be able to access it with your students. With that, I will also say that there is some Microsoft Education Centre, if you've ever had a look at that. That code there, the QR code, is actually a very simple, quick feedback form, which I'd appreciate if you could complete. It's only got 2 questions on, but then underneath there is a redeem code. So if any of you are members of the Microsoft Education community, you may be able to get some points, some codes towards becoming a Microsoft Innovative Educator if you just use that redeem code. But that's my little whistle-stop tour of how you can make use of a global classroom, especially in these times. But if anybody has any questions or would like to go through anything, again, have a little look in detail, then I'm happy to do that. Please just pop them in the Q&A.
Thank you, Donna. That was a really good presentation. I know that I've used Skype in the classroom before, and we've been using it for the mystery Skype side.
Oh, lovely.
And it's worked really well. And I have to say the resources on the website are brilliant, and they really do. They're so detailed, and they give you all the key questions to prime your children with before, because that is the key of making these successful, isn't it? Is getting those children ready for those meetings. I'll just have a look at the questions. There are a few questions that have come in for you. So someone's asking, are these sessions free?
Yes, they are all free. There's no charge for any of them. All you have to do is have your Microsoft or your Office account. And as we know, as educators, we all get an Office account for free anyway. So yeah, everything is free, no charge at all.
Okay, brilliant. And it says, and I think you've answered this again with the same answer. How much does it cost for the school? But like you say, it's a free platform.
Yeah, the only cost that you would be is if you need any additional resources such as a webcam. But as I say, the majority of schools would have some form of using video and audio.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. Do you have any consent forms for the children that they can use? And I think that means sort of within the classroom environment, do you have the consent forms ready on the website that the teachers could use to send home with the children if they need it?
Oh, there certainly aren't any as far as I'm aware, but that's a really good suggestion that I could put forward to the team, that they could have a standard template, maybe saying that your school is involved in Skype in the classroom. Do you give permission for your child to be visible? Yeah, but other than that, I'm sure most schools have got standard templates for data collection, because obviously it comes under GDPR as well, with it being image and video. Yeah, but I'm sure I'll pass that on. That's a really good suggestion.
Yeah, it's interesting what comes up, isn't it, with these presentations. And the last one there is if you don't have access to computers for each of your students, can you do this with just your central teacher screen? So what would the setup be that you would suggest for a classroom who wants to do these meetings?
Oh, I would totally do it just with one screen. I wouldn't even try to connect with multiple. I would just do it with one, and have your either, if you have a portable webcam and your class were fine to be involved in the video, I would have that set up just at the front. You can even use an iPad and use the video camera that's built into an iPad. So you can certainly just have that and just have it pointing the camera directed at the screen. Otherwise, I would just use my device that's connected to the an interactive board or monitor.
Yeah,
just project it up onto the screen so that they can see and have some speakers. If your computer isn't very loud, if your device isn't very loud for speakers, sometimes it's handy to have an additional set that you can plug in just so that the class can hear all the answers. But other than that, it's just your normal classroom setup is suitable, whether it's a tablet, whether it's a desktop, or even just using an iPad works.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, there's no more questions that have come in, but I know I've learned a lot from you today, and I'm definitely going to have a little look at the projects section of it.
There's some really good projects on there, yeah.
Yeah, they're really, I didn't know that existed, and everybody's working towards the Sustainable Development Goals at the moment, and that's something that I think is really worth checking out. So thank you very much. I'm just having a look. I think I'm not sure if there's another question that's just come in. I think that's it for the moment. Thank you very much for your time, Donna. That was wonderful. And have a lovely rest of the day if you're in any meetings yourself or you're logging in and being part of it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. And thank you all to our attendees today.